Okay, guys, now it's time for another story, and honestly, this one is pretty juicy. I mean, it's the other time. Well, honestly, it's when someone had a crush on me instead of me having a crush on another person. Actually, we kinda liked each other. But here's the thing. Alright, so in my 6th grade year, I moved to this private school for people with autism and all kinds of like disorders of that sort, and because apparently I was kicked out of a public school because I was way too short-tempered, and honestly, I could agree with that. But this school was supposed to help, and it did help. It did help, in fact, and I'm a much better person now, I guess. So I went back to a public school. But 6th grade was kinda shit, honestly. For those school standards, I was still in elementary school. And I spent one final year treading on the boring hell known as 6th grade. And the teacher was kinda shit. I mean, she picked favorites and all that. And honestly, the year before I moved in, there was this teacher, he left, named TJ, and honestly, I wish he were still around, because honestly, that guy sounded like a complete, so awesome. Because honestly, I wish I had him more than Miss Sherry, but honestly, that was all was well. The year finally finished, and I got my good dose of summer. But then there was summer school, which was actually pretty good. I mean, it was basically typical school, but there were some pretty good things in between. Like, they had a barbecue where they had hot dogs and all that, like the hot dog party near the end. And then I moved into the 7th grade class for that, and we did photography because my teacher, John, he was like this cool ass, like really good photographer, and he had these posters with his, that he edited in Photoshop with his, photos. It was pretty fucking cool. So, he was a really awesome teacher, man. He was hilarious and all that. But there was just someone that wasn't there. Like, all the 6th graders moved in. All the 5th graders were held back, and they got a pretty shitty teacher again, but probably more shitty than Miss Sherry. I'm glad I didn't have him. But John, I had my friends, all that. My friends were great. We were just hanging out and all that. We took photos. We learned a lot about photography. Hell, we even watched The Incredibles just for the worm's eye views. And honestly, that was pretty great. But then, once the actual school year started, there was this one guy that moved in, and honestly, this has something to do, but I was pretty fucking scared of Jeff the Killer, okay? I was just, the picture scared me the most, honestly. Like, the picture, mostly. But, I'm okay with it now, it's not as scary. But, today, I just wanted to say that there was this kid moving in named Jeffrey, and we didn't call him Jeff as much, he was just Jeffrey. But he moved in, and I didn't know who the hell he'd look like. I was kind of anxious. And he was actually this really awesome Mexican dude. Like, he was this really cool person. He was really athletic. He kind of caught up to this one dude, who I'll bring up later. And they were both really athletic, and they were about the same in a sense. But sorry, I needed water. But Jeffrey was definitely one of the fine members of the crew. He was great. He was an awesome friend. But then once 8th grade rolled around, some stuff started to happen from there, and not by weird, really weird shit, like love-wise. And honestly, I don't know. Well, just keep in mind this was before Undertale came out, because Undertale came out when I was in 9th grade, just saying. But I was in 8th grade, final year of middle school. It was all exciting. Oh, I'm about to be in high school, yay! But the thing was, there were still some obstacles. Khan Academy was a bitch. Honestly, Khan Academy was always my weak point, and it was just so goddamn frustrating, but everyone else is good at it and all that, but I'm getting off topic. But honestly, we do these goals things, since this is like a special ed private school, of course we all got our little things we have to work on. So we had this little goal system set up where we'd earn class money for each time we'd honestly answer what happened, and John would come around, or Zaid would come around and correct us on, put the zeros and the ones and all that, and we were supposed to be quiet during this time, but there was this kid named Gavin, and he was around the time, he was in 6th grade with me. I'm not sure if he was before, I can't really remember if he was in the year before, I think he may have, but him and Jeffrey just talking to each other, like whispering, and Jeffrey told him a little secret apparently, and I wasn't eavesdropping, but I heard them talking a little bit, and well, Gavin looked back. Well, I heard Jeffrey say, "Don't tell this to Rachel," or something like that. And then Gavin just looked back at me, and he said, "Hey, Jeff! Hey, Rachel, Jeffrey has a crush on you!" And Jeffrey was all like, "What?" And I just sat there like, what the hell? What? He was an awesome guy, but Gavin was kind of a dick in 6th grade, which we'll get to that later. So I was like, is this a dream? Does he mean it? But eventually I diddly darn found out that he was completely serious about this, and Jesus Christ, shit went down, and just, it was absolutely, we played tag a lot, and Butts Up, which is like this tennis ball game where you throw it at the wall and all that, we had to catch it in order to get people out with letters, and just generic tag, but tag was probably the most awkward game if me and Jeffrey were around each other on the same spot, the safe spot, because things got awkward one time. Oh, water. Things got awkward one time when everything went, like, shit hit the fan whenever he just looked at me. We were sitting on the safe spot in front of our friend Sean, who was new. Like, Sean was right behind us, so it was just, we knew shit would hit the fan. So he was like right behind us, and Jeffrey looked over to me and said, "Hey Rachel, if we were at a public school, we could kiss." And I just said, "Yeah, okay." And I was just, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck? And everything was just, apparently Gavin and Jeffrey were kind of on the same note here. They both liked me at the same time. It was like some love triangle. But Gavin, as I said, was kind of a dick to me in 6th grade. But it was forgive and forget, but I'm not sure if he would be a great boyfriend after that. So, of course, through instinct, I had to choose Jeffrey. And I had to tell him that. And we said, don't tell Gavin. But apparently someone did eavesdrop on us and did hear what was going on. So he was one of these snitchy kids. I'm not going to state names. Like, he snitched all the time. If something even minor happened, he would just tell the teacher, no matter what. But this was kind of a big deal in this case. It was pretty big in a sense. But he told John everything that happened, I think. Or at least us talking about the whole relationship thing. And honestly, I totally regret doing that. And, everything hit the fan when John called us up to a circle all of a sudden. You know why we can't have relationships here? And my friend said, because it'll get sexual? That, but some people here are in a relationship. And I just froze at that point. Who the hell told us? Who the hell told John? But, I mean, when we were in our desks, I saw, like, them outside the window. It was David, of course. Ah, shit, I said his name, but it was David. And then he was a good guy. I mean, he was a good guy other than him being a complete snitch, but then there was a guy who sexually abused me. I can't really remember, but I think he was out there too. Or was it just him? Because honestly, I swear to God, if it was him, then I will fucking murder that guy. No, I'm fine. But, ironically, John said that it isn't okay to have a relationship at this age. And ironically, he said breaking up is hard to do. Which is like a quote from a song or something. And John said that we can't have relationships. I mean, me and Jeffrey weren't separated, but we didn't even sit that close to each other, but it was just insane. But then, ironically, the whole sexual abuse thing happened the summer after that. And just we were in 8th grade, keep that in mind. And the guy said we're in high school now. And if that isn't as much of a difference, if he just said, I think he was just trying to steal Jeffrey from me if it wasn't him. And honestly, or not steal Jeffrey from me, steal me from Jeffrey. And since we were not in, I haven't seen him since the last day of 8th grade, but honestly, it's just, what the fuck, dude? Okay, that guy just got me into so much shit right now, and main reason why I made that goodbye video was because of him, and honestly, I took that shit down. I'm glad I did, so more shit wouldn't hit the fan. I mean, I've been saying that a lot recently. But Jesus Christ, he's the reason why I'm not going full-on feminist here. I am not a feminist, especially a rad fem, but I just can't trust having a relationship with a real guy. That's why I have a crush on Sans, because I can't seem to trust anyone that's real. And yes, I am completely aware that's fictional, or he's fictional because that is pretty much the point. But I mean, it was just like the whole Jeffrey thing was just fucking funny, and I just wanted to tell you guys about that, because good God, it was hilarious. And I thought you guys would be amused by this. So, I think I already told one of my friends at school, but then there's a little more about this. How it all began and stuff, and how everything's just, oh my God. You guys just, well, I'll see you guys soon. See ya.